Welcome to AlphaTalk, where we discuss all things auto. From F&I to industry updates, AlphaTalk is here to keep you in the loop.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of AlphaTalk. This is a new segment or a continuing segment that we're doing called Supercharged. And what it is we're actually taking our service and technology powered by amazing people. And we really want to start highlighting some of those amazing people that power this company. Those of you who listened to our episode last month, you were lucky enough to hear from Kiana and Beth, both on our project management and sales team. They have been tremendous in getting our RV product out to launch. So this month, I'm lucky enough to have a guest on that I've worked with basically my whole career here. Michael Ashton, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, absolute pleasure. I mean, it's been 10 years. I'm glad I finally got the call to get on the show.
You finally made the cut.
We're here. Awesome.
And, before we get going on just, why you're on this episode and the topics we want to talk about, for our longtime listeners, we are trying something new. So if you're hearing us on Spotify, on any of the podcast channels that you've downloaded, we are actually shooting some video. Michael's just so pretty that we had to make sure we got him on here, repping his vintage t-shirt. So,
got all my good jewelry on.
For those of you who are kind of wanting to try something new, something we want to test out, please let us know how you like the video. If you don't like the video, I always say that I have a face for radio. So those of you who are joining us, please check us out on our YouTube channel. We'd love to just, try to find new ways to engage with our listeners. So please check us out. So without further ado, Michael Ashton. Michael is our National Sales Manager, just recently promoted. But, Mike, why don't you, I've obviously worked with you for, my whole career almost here. We've really supported each other in a lot of ways, being on the road, being really the kind of face of the company for a long time. But for those new listeners or people who may not have, an understanding of your background, I'd love for you to start at the beginning. Like, what were you doing before you came to Alpha? What have you been doing since you've been here at Alpha? Yeah. I know that's a lot, but this is your platform.
Sure, yeah. It all started right out of high school. Going through school, trying to figure out what I wanted to do in life. Always thought it would be something in medical, and worked for my parents' insurance agency. Going really well, going through school, thinking like, man, right, do I really want to be a doctor and have, $500,000 in debt? And decided not the spot for me.
So you're like the auto industry, of course, is the next logical step down.
Right, so worked in sales, very successful, had a fun time, loved being in front of people, really having that conversation, creating relationships, and sure enough, just kind of pivoted, got into the insurance, did that for 10 years.
Yeah. And that was in California.
Yeah, Northern California, very tiny town. But it shaped me into really just, being in front of people, having conversations. And my wife and I made a pivot to move out to Utah. And
and half the rest of California.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Hey, but you were an early trailblazer at least. So.
Yeah, exactly, right. I've been out here long enough.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Went out here, came out to Utah 10 years ago, got back kind of in the medical field, and then really got kind of harassed to come to Alpha and check out what Alpha was, kind of this very young company in the automobile space. Had a great vision. Founder Craig and Steve really created this platform where they allowed us to, be what we are and how to excel into that. And it's been a fantastic ride. And here we are 10 years later in this fantastic building. I joke around. I started in a small conference office, shared it, and had a Rubbermaid desk.
I do remember those. Yes, I remember those desks. You're lucky. I still have it. So when you retire, you'll get to take that table home with you.
I don't need the gold watch. I'll take the Rubbermaid Taylor. So, fantastic. So, that's background. Just sales in front of people. Really love just that interaction.
Yeah, and I think that you're very humble. One of the things that I know about you, Mike, and I, you're one of the first people I really got to work with and kind of mentor in the space. Still learning what I needed to learn about it.
Yeah.
Mike was really one of our first outside salespeople that we hired, and you took a lot of pressure off me. So I could stop doing the 3 weeks a month travel.
Right, big team of 3.
Yeah,
right?
I probably didn't tell you what you were getting into, but Mike successfully ran our East Coast region, which for our listeners that aren't maybe not familiar with you, what did that like? Maybe just kind of give that geography.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we started, right, our revenue channel really came from the mountain, right, our backyard. Had a great sales force. We were ranked 3rd, right, as our current geographical West, Central, Midwest, and Mountain West. West, Mountain West, Central, and East Coast. So 3rd place. I've always been a champion of trying to be first and really grinding to be on top. And it was a long, fun ride. But about year 4 is where we really hit some momentum. And after passing the torch for 8 years, we are still, the leading revenue KPI for our team.
Yeah, it was. It's been pretty impressive what you've been able to accomplish with our agents and dealers in that market. Really, from the very tip of the Northeast all the way down to Florida, and then as far west as I want to say Ohio.
Yeah, Ohio down to Louisiana and everything east.
Yeah, so really taken not only a very diverse geographic environment, but a very diverse agent base, right? Like very different cultures, very different experiences, and being able to work with those people, really boots on the ground, getting them to trust us, number one, trust you, probably more importantly, and then getting them to grow.
Yeah. I mean, I cut my teeth in the Philadelphia market, and if anybody's worked in that market, I mean, you have some experience of getting your identity stolen up there. So
just twice.
Yeah, right. And I think it really shaped who I was. A lot of no's, right? And everybody in sales understands that. You're going to get a ton of no's before just that one yes. And building that from that foundation, I think, is really what shaped me as who I am as a salesperson.
Yeah, that's awesome. And for those of you who know people from Philadelphia, they're usually pretty nice when they're saying no. So it's just like a softball. Excuse me, sir. My pleasure. Could you please leave my store, right?
Yeah, which is why I loved working in the South. Y'all be safe.
Yeah.
Is a going slogan when leaving the dealerships.
That's awesome. Yeah. Now let's talk a little bit about where you're going, because you've recently been promoted. I say recently. It's been probably 6 months now.
Yeah.
Well deserved, well earned after so much growth. What does your kind of new role look like? What are you doing in this role as National Sales Manager?
Yeah, I think for me the biggest and greatest thing is just allowing my bandwidth to go across the states, right? So being able to operate outside of the East Coast, being able to work with agents across the whole lower 48 and hopefully to Hawaii one day. But
I know you and your brother keep really pushing for that. So
it just allows me to be able to work with everyone and then support. And I think that's the biggest piece to where as our sales team went from a traveling team of 3 to 4 to 8, now I think we're at around 12.
Yeah.
It allows all of us to work together, and then it can help support and supplement some of those regions that are new and possibly could just use a little more help.
Yeah. No, I think a lot of the success that you've had obviously is your hustle and your drive, your competitive nature. For those of you who don't know, Michael is actually a twin, and there is still controversy out there on who is actually the oldest. Because based on where their birth order, you guys were was your brother supposed to be first?
I should have been number 2, but obviously I couldn't have that, and started with the leading out the first with the C-section.
Yeah, so he still claims that he's the oldest. His brother does kind of fight that a little bit. It was always great when you were on the East Coast and Matt was our regional, or is our regional, and our West Coast, it was like a little Biggie Tupac rivalry. Yeah. So without the violence.
Yeah.
I guess leg wrestling, but.
Well, and I think it creates an environment for that competition. Everybody wins, right? I mean, if everybody's pushing to grow and to drive, that friendly competition always makes for a winner for everyone.
Yeah, and let's talk about that for a minute. You've worked with teams, and you had a smaller team, but really a lot. I think you were the biggest team in the East Coast that we had. Now your team is growing even more so. Explain to me maybe how you, like, what's your approach to like leadership, personal development? How do you get those people internally first to really buy into the same, passion and desire and that like win it, mentality?
Yeah. Definitely an eye opener, right? I think the greatest thing that I learned when being in that kind of leadership role is everybody operates differently, right? Everybody reacts to different leadership, constructive criticism, whatever you want to call it. Everyone has a different button that drives them. And that was one thing I had to learn very soon, because if there was confrontation, right, you're least likely to have that success or get to that road of success. So the challenging part for me, right, is I'm just, I'm going to go out and crush it, just go through deals and kind of be that trailblazer, as you said, and really just put the gas, all the way down to the floor. The problem with that, right, is you'll leave your team behind. Mm-hmm. And that's where, for me, and the conversations that I've had with, Darren, our leader, his focus was it's better to build and bring everybody up, right? Be replaceable. And that really resonated with me, and it allowed me to help build and drive that team to where we're all running on full four cylinders. We're all really pushing together, and you really build that momentum to where, we're successful. We're running, and if anything happens to me, there's somebody that can fill that role for us, and you don't lose that momentum.
Yeah, and I think that's really hard, especially if we kind of apply that same mentality into the dealer space. I think you're dealing with a lot of high-driven people that work at an auto dealership. Yeah. Especially the people we work with on the finance side. They're usually high performers, very confident in their ability. I think a lot of times it's very easy to not want to have somebody that does it better than you, or to help build somebody that does it better to you. Yeah. I know for me in my history and my career, that's been, when I was younger, that was always a challenge, and I think that there's a difference there, right, between being a high performer and being a leader. Yeah. And sometimes I think, for people out there, whether you're in the auto space or not, being a leader is far harder to replace a leader than it is to replace a high performer.
Absolutely.
It's you could be crushing it at a dealership and being like, such a responsible part of that revenue for a dealer, but if that's all you are, there is somebody who can replace you. If you're leading people and creating this environment, as you said, that allows people to be better than what they were before they walked in that door. Yeah. Real good owners will understand that person is not replaceable. And if they do try to replace that person, that's probably not the place for you. That's not the right culture anyway.
Yeah. Relationship, right? If you have those working with you and you create a good environment, be a great leadership, help them develop and grow, they're going to want to work harder, right? They might stay longer. They might come in earlier. They might go above and beyond their job duties. And for me, that was a big eye-opener, right? It's like, don't be the resistance, right? Be the person that helps support. And that was, like I said, an eye-opener. But more importantly, it helped me drive and be more successful because I had a team behind me that wanted to do more and be better.
Right. Right. So, I wonder, I guess just kind of leads me into another question. You've had some tremendous success over the year. I think, I don't know, you probably know better than I do. If you were to average your average growth year over year for the last 5 years as East Coast regional manager, you were probably what?
High 30s?
Yeah. And now, we're seeing 30, 40% growth as a company, right? I would love from your perspective, and we haven't had this conversation. I'd love to kind of get your perspective on why we're seeing that growth. What is it about Alpha Warranty recently? I say recently because we had COVID and some other external factors, right. But we've had some banner years really the last 2 years, and we're going into another one. What do you think that is? Is it product? Is it people? That's what this episode is about, is
right.
The things that make us unique. What is it from your perspective? How do we get there?
I'll definitely want to ask our technical team to go ahead and bleep some of this out because I don't want to share all this industry knowledge. But I think it really comes from the top down, right? Our leadership creates the environment to allow us to pivot when needed. I worked in the Atlanta market for 2 years, right? It was kind of a soft spot for us. Going out, pounding the pavement. It was hard to get dealerships to buy into, our A+ program, right? A little bit more coverage for a couple $100. I went to Darren and I said, we got to pivot and we got to create a product that is more budget friendly for our consumers. A lot of dealerships, right, are really focused on that bottom dollar. And Darren and I spitballed Budget Care in his office, and 6 months later we implemented it, and it created that huge momentum for us. So I think that is definitely a huge asset for us as a company and why we're successful. And then I think the other piece is we're very agent-centric. Myself, you, Darren, right, executive leadership, able to go out in the road, work with agents to help develop and grow their business. It creates a support to where the agent is very loyal to you, right? You build long-time relationships. Shout out to Cheryl. That was the first agency that I worked with. She was fantastic. Started with, under 20 contracts a month with us, and really built this relationship to, if not over 1,000 contracts a month after that 3-year tenure. And it just out there working in the field, understanding them as people. I also treat, the business like it's my own, right? I mean, I've been a 1099 person. I understand what it's like to live and die off of commission. So, for us, it might be a drop in the bucket, but for those agents, it's life changing. And I think that focus that we have as a company really makes us special.
I love that you highlight just some specific people that helped you kind of define your career. I think on the other side, what's been interesting, I think whether you're an F&I person working at a dealership or you're a solo entrepreneur out there as an agent just trying to hustle and do everything you can, I think where you've really excelled is being able to come in and now taking that knowledge and giving it to your team. I think is also part of the reason we're seeing some of that success. But I think that you're able to get people to see that they're bigger than they are. And nothing against Cheryl at all. I think she was doing a great job where she was at. But I think you really, for her to get to that point where you're like, okay, you could be 1,000 a month, producer. You could be this, or you could do this. You could hire people. I could help you manage a team. I think that's something that's like pretty unique. Yeah,
it's a stickiness, right? I think, as you mentioned, product-wise, there's always going to be somebody out there that can mirror you, right? And it's the intangible differences that create that momentum that you build with the agents that makes it invaluable.
You've explained kind of your management style, how you help support people, why you think the growth is coming. I'd love to get into maybe some of the weeds a little bit, because we do have listeners from all over the spectrum. There's hopefully dealers who may not be working with us that, are like, well, Mike just, I love that vintage t-shirt. I wanted to tune in. I would love to, and it's also just a way for me to haze you on camera a little bit and test your product knowledge. I would love maybe give kind of a elevator pitch. If Dealers Net doesn't know who Alpha is, what is it like? Tell them in a minute, 30 second, whatever it is. What's special about Alpha from a product perspective, and how do we differentiate ourselves from a product perspective?
Yeah, I think where our value proposition is, we differentiate ourselves in the market to allow dealerships to not lose a deal, right? Our wheelhouse is that specialty risk, finding opportunities where normally dealerships say, no, I don't have a product, or the product that I have is $3,000-$4,000 outside of the customer's ability to even purchase, or even it's not great value, right? I'm selling an AMG, and I don't want to offer a customer a powertrain only coverage. And I think that is where our product allows dealerships to make more money, and why we've been so successful.
So is there a specific dealer that you think our product probably aligns better with?
Yeah, I mean, you can categorize, right, in the franchise space, very simple, right? High mileage. Stuff that they don't, as a risk appetite, should be putting into their reinsurance portfolio. Those things are cars over 80 to 100,000 miles, AMG highline vehicles, and then also high performance, right?
Right.
Hemi V8 engines, Hellcats, Demons, TRXs, right? these vehicles.
Our risk team is having a heart attack as you keep listing these vehicles off.
Right, and that's the point, right? You don't want to create an environment for a dealership to lose, right? And so that's why we're so successful, is we have the products that allows them to be able to sell something that they can stand behind, and make profit. And so, franchise, it's really taking that specialty risk. And then the independent space, it's a full spectrum for them, because whether their market is kind of the backyard Joes in Kentucky. I met with the dealership and franchise store and wanted to, get this $10,000 car and under, and wanted to get a product behind it, to, that Highline store they only want to put, 60,000 cars plus, right? And just be that really specialty niche market. The great thing is we have products that can meet those needs. But the most important thing is that when something does happen, right, when that customer does take the car into the shop, that we're able to cover those claims for them. Yeah,
I love it. And our producer, Trevor, who's on our marketing team, I think that if you go back and listen to that clip, you'll probably hear a few new marketing tags. I really like some of the things you said. Create a product that a dealer can't lose on. So maybe there's something there. The other side of this, we talk about product offering. I think that's such obviously, we're an insurance provider, we're an admin company. So that is the key component of what we do. But there's so much more around that from, the support side. And you talked a little bit about the support from the personnel side. I want to talk a little bit about the technology pieces.
Yeah.
And, there's, I want to understand, from your perspective, how do you think that Alpha technology specifically, the things that we're putting in the market and in the field for agents, dealers, if you want to highlight specifics, that's fine. But how do you see that that's actually transforming the dealer experience and creating a better customer experience and end user experience for that customer that's going in and buying a car?
Yeah. Customers are more vocal than ever. So if we can create an environment for a dealership that allows them to streamline processes and to have a flexibility to be able to manage what their customers' experience is, it creates for that environment to where customers are going to be happy, dealers are going to be happy, and everyone's going to be happy. So we've implemented processes on our claim side to where if there's special needs, enhancements that we need to do, we can implement those all the way down to, dealerships that are independent, just getting into the market, right? A lot of DMS systems don't have or have to have a payable menu system, right? So we've implemented that into our Zoom system. Anything that we can do technology-wise to make the lives easier for our first users, which is finance, to end users, to the customer, Alpha puts a lot of time and focus into that.
Yeah. How much of your time do you think you spend on those kind of peripheral technology pieces, like when you're installing a store or when you're out, visiting an agent? How much of that experience is spent around things outside of just product training?
Yeah, for me, it's the icing on the cake, right? I mean, I think everybody has a system. Everybody kind of does this. It's just these small enhancements. Be able to track a claim, right? Are you tired of customers calling you? Click on this button and you can get all live information. You're tired of sending in checks? Dealership in Philadelphia, cut a check for every contract.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Implemented.
I'm sure that their bank loved them.
Yeah. The biggest checkbook I've ever seen. Just being able to implement an online ACH form and then being able to track it that way. So it's the little things. I think it's the icing on the cake, but it's, again, just that little zest or sizzle that allows us to just enhance or upgrade a dealership's experience.
Yeah, and I think even, you look at, and I love what you said, just some of those little things. It's, even like our quick sign that we have for agents, they're not having to send in paper contracts and make sure we're more accurate. Also make sure that we get the signups a lot faster and we can implement that dealer, because that's the tricky part a lot of times for agents is they have a dealer invested in understanding kind of the why behind their moving to a product provider like Alpha, and then they're waiting around for a week or 2 weeks to get a signature on something.
It's so crucial, right? Where you get a dealership ready, signed, fired up, and it takes 2, 3, 4 days to get them implemented. You lose that momentum. And there's a reason why I chose the doctor field, is because I have horrible handwriting. So, little things like, us having to read grammatical issues. And so if we can streamline to get a dealership signed up same day, next day, you're able to capitalize on that momentum.
Okay. Yeah. you've answered a lot of questions around the dealer experience, but a lot of your time has been spent working with our agents and really developing them. And that, I think, is a lot of who our listening, listener base is as well, as they're kind of driving down the road, hopefully not watching our YouTube channel. Please do that safely. But if you had some advice to give to agents, you've worked with good agents and you've worked with bad agents over the year. What is maybe the one or two top things that you see from agents where you're out there and within a day you know that this agent's either going to make it or it's not?
Yeah.
What is it that you've seen over your career that those top performing agents do, or what is their the characteristic they might all have that's like indicative of success as an agent?
Yeah. Grit. I think for me, right, is always wanting to see the glass as half full. Really going out there, continuing to prospect, but continuing to grow your agency, backfill, but always going out there and filling your sales funnel. Calling dealerships. I can't tell you how many times I've walked into a store. We've been in there. This guy, they're with this person. They love this. Great example, Tallahassee, Florida. Was down there, walked into a dealership, and the guy's like, well, my company denied a claim and it should have been covered, so I'm looking. What do you guys got? And, built a fantastic relationship with them, and, still selling today. But, yeah, you never know when the right opportunity is there. And so, you should be grateful that dealerships just aren't signing up left and right, because then there's no loyalty there. So create a relationship, get out there in front of dealerships and continue to fill your pipeline, and that would be for me, probably the paramount to success. And then the other thing is really be a master of your product, right? Dealerships really will lean on to you as being the expert. A lot of it is a relationship piece, but understanding what your product is and believing in the product that you're selling. You don't want to be the guy in the back alley that opens up his trench coats and shows you all the right. Just create loyalty, right? You get more from that from your TPA and your provider, right? If you have that, but most importantly, it allows you to become that expert. So when those questions do come up, a couple agencies that I pitched sat in front of a group of 10, great group out of Atlanta, and they peppered me with questions, really detailed, specific questions. And they told me, you were the first time that someone was able to answer all the questions. And so that being that master of your trade, gives you the best success. You might not get them all, right? There's still deals that I walk in and I don't get, but you leave an impression of, okay, great, there's other opportunities out there.
Yeah, that's just such a good way to look at it, and making sure that you've got that you don't have too many products that you don't know what they are. I think that as an agent, that can be really tricky, right?
Yeah. Because
it is scary to put all your eggs in, I wouldn't say one basket, because nobody does that, but in most, you've got one or two providers, you really have to make sure you have a quality provider.
Yeah.
With that said, what do you think that agents who may either have dipped their toe in the water, don't know about us, or maybe they've worked with us for years, what do you think the one thing that they miss that's a true value add that Alpha provides?
Yeah, if we definitely, I think we definitely differentiate ourselves when it comes to the people.
Yeah.
There's so little that you can do as a company that can create this exponential value of why us. It's who we are as a people, how we operate, right? Always doing the right thing. If there's a gray area, let's get it covered. Again, the leadership allows us as in sales to support the bigger picture of the partnership, right?
Yeah.
Our claims teams and claims teams in general, very black and white. Like you said, we are an insurance company. We do get audited. We do have compliance. But there's always a bigger picture. And the agents that we work with and that are true partners of ours, they don't need to give me an explanation. Here's the situation. Let's get it taken care of and let's move forward. And I think that success point for us and why and how we deliver that, I think is what creates the true value of, why you should work with Alpha.
Yeah, and you said it before. You talked a lot about being a true partner and building relationships and truly caring about the business that these people are bringing to us, whether it's a dealer, even a customer. I know in the early days we take customer calls. Our agents would be like, "Hey, I don't know how to answer this. Here's the cell phone." Yeah. And I think you've always treated those whoever that person is on the other line like it is your problem, like it's personally your problem.
Yeah.
Whether you're on vacation, you're on a trip developing a different agent. I think that says a lot about you, and I think that it's also just really part of the culture that's been created here, that people truly do care about the people that are writing our business.
Yeah.
It's not just a number or a revenue dollar or a growth percentage for us.
Yeah, and again, right, it's just that small sizzle, right, that can be the differentiator. And yeah, like I said, being 1099, I'm very sympathetic to the agents. I understand the stress, right? It's everything need to be done yesterday. Everything is a big problem, and if you humanize that, right? I mean, we can't pay everything. There's a lot of things that we would love to do, but it just doesn't make sense. But it's always trying to come to a resolution so both of us understand, hey, right, this is where we're at, or find a solution that works for both.
Yeah. Yeah, and you've given a lot of really good kind of your background, how you help support the dealers, the agents, what you've seen successful agents. I'd love to get into, you've been doing this a long time, man. It's been a long time. And back in the early days, we went into some very interesting dealers. I remember one where I had a dealer that asked me if he could smoke in his office, and I said, I don't know if that's legal, but sure. I think that that's one of the things I love about this job is you get to meet so many different kinds of people, and there's characters out there. And I would love, you talked about the sizzle a little bit, and I've heard you say this a lot with your team about just getting the foot in the door and creating. What's the craziest sizzle you've ever seen an agent or a dealer? You've traveled all over this country. You've seen a lot over a decade. Share with our listeners maybe one of the more crazier things that you've seen, whether it's like I said, a dealer trying to get a customer in the door, or an agent trying to get that dealer to say yes.
Yeah, I'll share two experiences. One, you and I, in the Philadelphia market, working on a large reinsurance client presentation. 30 minutes in, continue to get done, right? The guy's like, "Oh, felt like you stabbed me," right? And we're talking $10, right? He felt that. Adding to that layer was inside of a room with a large, thick metal door and no windows. So we are doing a presentation in the heart of Philly, where it wasn't going as well as it should have, and created an environment where we jokingly always laughed like, boy, we barely made it out of that one.
I do remember that one. And I remember after we got through, we did get the deal done.
Yes, we did
get the deal done. I think that was the one he called me back in by myself. He didn't want you or the agent there, which I was like, at least you guys know where I'm at.
Well, I'm glad you took one for the team.
Well, and then to make matters worse, I remember didn't he have a warehouse down by the waterfront that he asked us to go visit?
Right, new warehouse.
He said, look, I will never go anywhere near water with you ever.
Yeah, great. Yeah, and like you said, great partnership. And I think you just got to be a chameleon. You got to be a chameleon in the environment, because every dealer, every deal is a different opportunity. And then the last one that I'll share is in a store doing an install. Customer comes in, and I'm dressed obviously nice, and he asked me a question. Hey, service guy keeps ducking me. I don't know how to lower this seat. Can you help me? And I'm just like, sure, I don't work here, but I'll bet you I can figure it out. And we go outside and shoot the breeze, and I kind of show him some operational stuff on his vehicle, and loved it. Had a great conversation. Was a music band. Does hiking now. He's like 7 years old and goes around in a hiking group and does all these different hiking climbs. And he bought this Jeep and loved it. And the dealer principal saw me do this and saw me help his customer, and he just is like, I appreciate that. And me jokingly like, well, that's what you get when you come with Alpha. But it's that little sizzle, right? Where it's very easy for me to say, oh, I don't work here. Go find somebody else, right?
Yeah.
Customer had an issue. wasn't getting any help, and it just was easy for me to walk outside and, shoot the breeze with him for 10 minutes and help him on his new EV Jeep, which actually kind of cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I love it. So you're just, if you you're going to be a sales guy if you ever for Jeep, Chrysler, Dodge store if this doesn't work out.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Remember that resume.
So for our listeners who don't know Michael, he is a fantastic chef. I would say you're like massive foodie. Anytime you bring anything into the office, I want to make sure that I'm here for it. It's I think you're the salsa champion. I want to say 4 years in a row.
Yeah. It comes from the roots. I very passionate, right, about everything that I do. My great grandma was very keen about me getting into the kitchen.
Yeah.
Because that would help me find a wife. And
I got to ask Angela if that's
and she'll be the first to tell you that she doesn't cook in the house. So be adaptable, men out there. But yeah, it's a passion. I love to do it. I love just that whole, for me, it's a release.
Yeah.
And I get a joy out of like people enjoying that. I think, if you're passionate about and you like what you do, I tell Darren to this day, if I hit the jackpot, I'm gone. I just get a little boat, go out and fish. If I catch what I eat, then I eat that day. If I don't, well, then I'll try again tomorrow. So, I'm very passionate. And salsa contest, all welcome. Cinco de Mayo. I do have a medium, which would be a lot of hot for other people. And then I also have a waiver option that if you're ready, I am a 1%er when it comes to heat. So,
What is the hottest thing you've ever eaten? Like, what was Scoville units? What's the hottest?
It came during COVID. My father-in-law, we locked down California. We went out there. We just let's do a garden and let's just do a whole garden of exotic peppers. This was back when Carolina Reaper just came out, and we grew Carolina Reaper, ghost pepper, scorpion, 7-pot, a bunch of these really exotic peppers, and just started making our own hot sauce and salsas. And it's every year we do it the same and make the batches, and we get hotter and hotter. And if the top of our head isn't itching, then it's not hot enough. So that's where it started, was back in COVID. And it's just been something fun for us to do.
You said your father-in-law?
Yes.
So you didn't realize he was trying to kill you.
Well,
secretly, he's like trying to poison you.
And he, there's not very many people that can eat this, and I would push him. And my poor wife, right? I mean, Tabasco was too hot for her, and now she can hang with the big guys. And we just kept kind of pushing yourselves, and this is hot, and kind of would challenge each other, like who can take the bigger scoop of the hot sauce. And it just been a great hobby.
What's your max Scoville that you've gone?
Unfortunately, word got around in the office that I can eat whatever it is, and again, back when eating Carolina Reaper, 2 million Scoville unit, one of our employees brought me a piece of chocolate, and it was a square chocolate, and it had 10 small pieces. And I was thinking, oh man, I've been eating Reaper. There's nothing harder than that. So I ate that. As I'm eating it and ingesting it, I'm like, man, this feels a little different. Like, this is a little off. And as it's working through my body, I'm like, it feels like a magma ball is just rolling around in there. And I asked her, I was like, what was that? And she's like, oh, it was the world's hottest chocolate.
Yeah.
And I Googled it.
Yeah.
8 million Scoville units. Pepper spray, for those that don't understand, is 6 million. So
you're just ingesting basically hotter than pepper spray.
Yeah, so I just told her that I tell everybody, if it's not more than 8 million, I don't need to try it. So and also you're supposed to just eat one of those little pieces of 10. So
I'm noticing this pattern of people trying to poison you. Like, maybe you should. We need to put a protection around you.
Well, it's made me who I am. Yeah. Right now, it's really calloused me to this expert in all.
Yeah, I love it. So, Mike, when you're not, helping agents grow or helping your dealers grow, Where can we find you? Where can your team find you?
Well, like us, right? We're traveling. We travel a lot. Bless our spouses, right? They're the true backbone of our house. Watching kids, sleepless nights solo. So any chance that I'm not traveling, our family, we are out doing something, right? Staycation or vacation at the beach. We love collecting seashells. So any beach area we go, we have all these jars and collect and getting the kids involved, and our kids running around, no clothes on and these beaches and just laughing around. And
it's Northern California. It's all right. It's acceptable.
It's
anybody,
acceptable.
Anybody can go without clothes.
Absolutely. But we're by a beach or on a boat.
That's awesome.
Love fishing, love the beach, love the ocean. But just spending family time. We sacrifice. Everyone sacrifices. We live a fantastic life. But that's usually where you'll find me, is somewhere at a beach or on a beach.
Yeah, it's so the reason you moved to Utah was not for our beaches. I know that. So
crazy, right? Going Northern California out to Utah, high desert, beautiful spot. Actually not a beautiful spot. It's hot, 10-foot snow, blizzards, no water. But just crazy where the world takes you.
Yeah. Well, we're certainly glad to have you part of the team, and look forward to seeing you excel again in this new role. For any of our listeners who are listening, Michael is an asset. I can tell you he's one of the best people I've ever worked with on development, whether you're a dealer or an agent. He truly does care, and he has a team that cares. So, please reach out to Michael as one of our kind of superstars over the decade or so. I probably wouldn't be here, or even the person I am at this company, if it wasn't for you. And the ability to work with you and have fun with you, and have some of those experiences. But please reach out to Michael and his team if you have any needs. He's one of the major reasons that Alpha is a unique company. Michael, anything else that you want to add to anybody who might be listening?
Give us a shot. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised, right? I mean, there's, especially now more than ever, right? Every deal matters. Every opportunity matters, right? Last thing you want to do is get into a position to be able to close a deal and not, because you maybe don't have a product offering or have some type of support, technology, implementation, whatever it might be. Always have all your tools available. An biased opinion, Alpha definitely has the greatest opportunity for you to succeed.
That's awesome. I love it. And, again, check out our YouTube channel. This will be posted in its entirety. Look forward to hearing some of the comments. I can't wait to see what some of our agents say. I'm sure that Ethan and Kenny will have a lot to say about, the T-shirts and the it'll be good. Please add your comments, add anything that you'd like to see on these episodes. We look forward to having Mike and the team back on, and more importantly, look forward to seeing you out in the field again with our team. Yeah, I look forward to it. Thank you for having me. Yeah, thanks.
AlphaTalk is an Alpha Warranty Services production. Learn more at alphawarranty.com.